Hey, what's going on, guys? Heads here from Infinity Loops, and welcome back. Today, we are taking a look at a limited run of a bind and fly by BetaFPV. This is the Air65 Champion. Now, I know you're asking, what's the deal? What's so different about the Champion compared to, let's say, the Air65 Race? Well, to begin with, this is heavier. You heard that right. Now, what explains that weight gain would be, number one, they have removed the Air 4-in-1 flight controller that was running the external ELRS receiver and have replaced it with the Air 5-in-1 flight controller. And that messes with your weight a little bit, but it's not too much when you factor in that the 4-in-1 had to run the ELRS receiver as well. But what's also different is that all of your motors, still being 0702, are not the SE version of the 0702s that are on the Race Edition. These are the red and black version, not SE, and these are dual ball bearing motors as opposed to the bushings found on the SE Edition. With it being dual ball bearing motors, they have stated it will increase efficiency on this build, so much so that they claim a flight time of 4 minutes. Now, I've already seen that Albert Kim has put out a video where he was able to achieve 3.5 minutes of flight time. I don't exactly fly as calm as Albert Kim does, so I'm going to see today how it does being flown a bit more aggressive. Now, a few small changes that I noticed on this one that is different from my review of the Race 65. These things might be updated now on the newer versions, but on this one, things that jumped out at me was, number one, the canopy is notched to make room for that UFL antenna. Also, they have put a little blob of some type of black glue over the UFL antenna as well to help secure it to the board. One other small cosmetic change that I noticed was on the back of this CO3 camera, they now have a very professional looking printed sticker that goes over the back that has some info about the camera, as opposed to before where we were getting it with the black piece of tape on the back, or before that where we were getting light leaks. Other than that, you can expect the same 180-degree pigtail, the same air frame, the same propellers, the same canopy, camera. Everything else about this is the same, minus the motors and the flight controller. And finally, one last point I should mention is that this one here is going to be $10 more expensive than its counterpart, the Race Edition, going from $94.99 on the Race Edition now to $104.99 on the Champion. Now, as mentioned, this is a limited edition run. They're only doing 1,000 of these, and by now it's probably quite a bit less than 1,000 left. So if you were interested in picking one of these up for yourself, already built in the bind and fly here, you can get that with a link down below in the description. That is an affiliate link, but it does link you straight to this build. You're looking for the Champion Edition. You could also build this out if you missed the boat on this, or if you wanted to wait, you could build this out yourself just by doing a quick shopping cart over on BetaFPV's website, where you get an Air65 frame, these same exact motors, propellers, flight controller, canopy, camera, and slap this all together yourself. But if you wanted to get the bind and fly, limited edition, so move quick on that before those are all gone. Now that we have gone over all of our differences from the Champion and the Race Edition, both minor and major, there is really only one question left that I have yet to answer, and that is, but does it freestyle? As you saw there, I was able to achieve roughly 2 minutes of flight time when flying outdoors, and about 2.5 to almost 3 minutes indoors, depending on how aggressive I was flying. However, nowhere near the mark of 4 minutes that was listed on the website. Kind of wish that they would list if it was hovering time or actual like flying, racing time, because you really use your battery quite differently between hovering and racing or freestyling even. The throttle usage between all three is going to be vastly different. So I really wish they would say if it was a hover time or not, but I can tell you indoor freestyle is not going to get you 4 minutes unless you are very, very ginger with it. And outdoor flying, even with the slightest bit of wind, you are going to be fighting it with a 17-gram whoop. So that uses a little more battery than you would normally assume you would need. I guess depending on where you live, maybe you don't deal with too much wind, but where I'm at, we get quite a bit of it. So even with a really low wind day to day, I leave the flag out front there in the videos. It helps to kind of judge when watching at home if there's a whole bunch of wind or not. Really wasn't too bad today. Flag was pretty still, but even with that, I was only able to get about 2 minutes, maybe 2.5 if I was a little easy on it, but I'm never really easy on these. And that canopy is pretty aggressive, the tilt on it for me, so 30,000 kV in a tiny bit of wind with a more aggressive canopy than I'm used to. I was using quite a bit more throttle, let's say. But a fun whoop nonetheless. This was actually a lot of fun to freestyle at 30,000 kV. I would not recommend this if you are novice to FPV, if you're kind of just getting into things. Maybe look at the Air65 Freestyle edition. That'll actually get you some really long flight times. It's basically going to be the same build, just with a different flight controller and motors on it. That actually runs different propellers as well, but more or less it'll be the same thing, a 65mm with those 702s. It'll just be a little more tameable for freestyling inside the house especially. 30,000 kV is a little hot for the newer pilots. But if you're a veteran or a psychopath and like to get a little wild on the whoops, you can step it on up to that 30,000 kV. I'll leave all these links down below where you can pick up these whoops if you're interested. The Race Edition, Freestyle Edition, or now the very limited Champions Edition. That is an affiliate link, as I mentioned earlier, so please just keep that in mind, and we thank you if you are able to support the channel that way. Leave comments down below. What are your thoughts on the Champion Edition? Is it worth doing? Is it cool that they made it limited edition? Is it kind of a pain in the butt? What do you think? Do you buy the hype? How you feeling about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you in the next one.